Good Sunday morning, Northeast Ohio. For the last 5 years at this time, you have welcomed me into your home. And I guess now I get to return the favor. Welcome to mine, or at least a corner of it, where I get to hang things. Like many of you, I'm working from home this week as a result of the coronavirus crisis. And this was a Sunday where we thought we'd be getting together to break down the results of the Ohio primary, but instead, we're talking about the breakdown of the primary itself. Postponed literally at the 11th hour because of the coronavirus crisis, with a new date set for June 2nd.
Here's what underlines all of this, John. This is an unusual time. This is a difficult time. Executive leaders need to make tough choices in those times. Governor DeWine made a tough choice to protect health and safety. I made a tough choice to protect the integrity of our elections. I think that in time, whether there's litigation or whatever else, that we'll be judged to have made the right choices.
Ohio Democrats are arguing against the proposed new date of June 2nd. Chair David Pepper saying the Ohio Democratic Party strongly supports concluding the primary election earlier than June 2nd, going on to say it's not all that clear that in-person voting will be possible on that date anyway, pushing instead for what would be mainly a vote-by-mail election sooner.
The possibility of transforming Ohio's election system to exclusively vote-by-mail brings with it many logistical challenges, not the least of which are getting a printer that could prepare massive numbers of ballots, creating the opportunity for that to be postage paid, because again, if the only option is vote by mail, we cannot require Ohioans to pay for that. I worry that such a scenario would disenfranchise Ohioans, and again, if there are two things that I'm unwilling to do, it would be to jeopardize health or to disenfranchise Ohioans.
So as of now, June 2nd is that new primary date, and the period of absentee voting by mail, which we now have plenty of time to do, has reopened. And so far, more than 300,000 voters in the state have gone that route. So right now in the country, medical is priority one. Priority two, the economy. And that ball is now in the Senate's court as they tackle that $1 trillion or more stimulus plan. Senator Sherrod Brown and Rob Portman telling me it needs to focus on people, keeping small businesses open and their workers employed.
We need to fix that. We need to make sure that people who are put out of work, whether they're United employees or whether they're working in a restaurant or whether they're laid off from some other job, that we make them whole. Otherwise, people are not going to be able to make their rent. They can get foreclosed on. They're not able to take care of the kids. All the things that we need to do to help people that are laid off because of this.
This health and safety of the people of Ohio is the number one priority, but the number two priority is to be sure that during this time period that we're containing the virus, that we still have an economic system that's viable.
Portman pointing to Ohio's almost unimaginable 2,700% jump in jobless claims this week over last. He wants it set up so small businesses can go directly to their banks for loans, not the federal government, but the federal government would then back up those loans.
Because I think doing it through the government is going to take too long and it's too complicated. The idea here, John, is we need to help these small businesses and these families, individuals, weather this storm, and then at the end of it, do some things that helps to get the economy moving again.
Well, the past 2 weeks have been historical, and this week promises to be the same. History is often something we learn about in the third person, but not this time. You're living it. History is written with many voices, shot through many lenses, told from the many perspectives of the people who were the first-hand witnesses to it or unwilling participants in it. From the people who woke up on a Tuesday morning in September of 2001 to go to work in New York City, to those who gathered on Dealey Plaza in November of 1963 to catch a glimpse of a president, to the rarely told but deeply held stories of our relatives who ever fought in a war. Every generation was deeply impacted at the time by those events, but the reality is only a handful truly lived them. This is different. It is not something playing out in another part of the country or corner of the globe. It is in our state, our city, our homes, our lives. We are not only the first-hand witnesses, we are the principals in the story. The common denominator of those past trials, though, is likely the very thing that will see us through this, and that is the willingness, the desire of all of us to come together as one. So when Governor DeWine called on us Thursday to put out our flags, he was invoking that spirit of all of us to remember the closeness we felt on September 12th. A symbol that though we may be physically separated at this time, we still stand together as one. And we pray that years from now we look back at this all as merely a period of great inconvenience that stopped a wildfire from spreading. But it is already clear at this early stage, 2020 will be forever remembered for the event that suspended life as we know it and the role we all played in it. With Democracy 2020, I'm John Kosich. Enjoy your Sunday. Stay safe.